nations were among key policies already being implemented by his government.
The team has come up with is ultimately imperfect and unfinished, but it is a good beginning. We have agreed to disagree on the most important matter to us. We made what we believed were reasonable proposals on how to address the rising cost of living. But the government side flatly refused, terming it their exclusive business and further arguing that they got the mandate of Kenyans to execute their Kenya Kwanza economic agenda. We will be engaging Kenyans further in the coming weeks as we must, because the pain of the cost of living is really unbearable. In the coming weeks, the majority of Kenyans will be carrying the burden of increased school fees besides the many crises in the education sector. Be that as it may, we have come this far because of a commitment to constructive engagement and positive energy and sacrifice for the sake of our beloved country, Kenya.
Roads and Transport Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen has cautioned the management of the Port of Mombasa against engaging in corruption and theft of public property through unnecessary contracts. Speaking in Mombasa during the launch of the Kenya Ports Authority KPA strategic plan for the year 2023-2024 and 2027 to 2028, Murkomen called for the strengthening of the port's performance through investments that will attract investors. Our reporter Grace Sahati with more details.
The Kenya Ports Authority KPA has launched its 2023-2024, 2027-2028 strategic plan, with Roads and Transport Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen sounding a warning against corruption at the port. Speaking in Mombasa County, Murkomen called upon the management of the Port of Mombasa to strengthen the operations of the port in order to attract investors and ultimately increase their profits.
You must deal with the disease of budgeted corruption. Budgeted corruption. Somebody sits down and says, what can we do at the port? And I say,
the Director General of the Port of Mombasa, Captain William Ruto, noted that the port aims to achieve a profit of 20 billion shillings by the year 2027.
Our projection for the 2022-2023 was we expected to have 60 billion and a profit of 18 billion, but we achieved 16.6 billion, which was good anyway. In terms of demand forecast, our throughput, which we expect during this strategic plan, we need to grow from 35 million metric tons to 38.9 million metric tons.
In addition, the chairman of the board of the Port of Mombasa, Benjamin Tayari, announced that the national government will receive 3 billion shillings as the first phase of the profit share from KPA after obtaining a profit of 16.6 billion shillings.
The board this week approved a dividend of 10 billion, and we are going to hand over the first tranche of 3 billion by next week.
Reporting for Hope TV Newswatch, I'm Grace Ahati.
Thank you, Grace, for that report. Now, religious leaders in the country have reiterated their commitment to work with the National Authority for the Campaign Against Alcohol and Drug Abuse, NACADA, in the fight against alcohol and drug abuse in the country. This is after the authority today held a meeting with religious leaders from different faiths across the country to review the status of alcohol and drug abuse in the country. During the meeting, the leaders acknowledged that the country is confronted with a serious and growing problem of alcohol and drug abuse, with overwhelming effects on the social and economic development of the people. Faith Muli with more.
Speaking to journalists after the meeting, NACADA board chairperson Stephen Mairori and the CEO Anthony Omurikwa said the leaders had further raised concern over reports of emerging drugs that are highly potent and easily available to both the young and old.
As we near the festive season, we urge our dear brothers and sisters to desist from alcohol and drug abuse, which has in the past resulted in unhealthy habits, diseases, and unavoidable accidents. In addition, we call on religious institutions to actively take part in the campaign against alcohol and drugs, noting that it is our collective responsibility to save and transform lives.
During the meeting, it was agreed that the authority and religious leaders will collaborate in conducting public sensitization and advocacy to educate Kenyans on the facts and dangers of alcohol and drug abuse. This will be done through forums and various engagements with children, youth and families, as well as investment in mass media campaigns towards dissemination of drug abuse messages through various channels. They further agreed to take part in the design and running of treatment rehabilitation facilities in order to provide much-needed support to people affected by drug addiction. They will also collaborate in sharing information on perpetrators, illicit manufacturers, sale and consumption of alcohol and drug, as well as report on emerging trends in the community to enhance compliance and enforcement of laws related to alcohol and drug abuse. The Church of God overseer in Nairobi, Reverend Daniel Omamo, said the religious leaders had agreed to work hand in hand with NACADA to ensure the menace of drug abuse is combated.
From now onwards, as he has addressed us, we are going to make sure that we deal with this thing, particularly our young men who have been mostly affected. We deal with it and make sure we relieve them from this abuse.
Sister Mary Nyambura from Catholic University underscored the concern for young people addicted to drugs and alcohol, expressing a commitment to offering a helping hand in bringing them back to a healthier life. Emphasizing a preventive approach, she stated that the focus will also be on preventing relapses to ensure sustained recovery.
We have a great concern over our young people who are addicted in drugs and alcohol. And because they are our brothers and sisters, we would like to offer a hand in bringing them back to the fold, to bring them back home.
Sheikh Yusuf Abu Hamza from the SUPKEM said no one will be left behind in the fight against alcoholism, adding that addicts are people who need help, hence the need for religious leaders to assist them in overcoming the challenges.
We are looking at these people as people who need help. As religious people, of course, our mission is to mission and also minister as well as assist anyone who needs help. And these people, these are our brothers who needs help. Together with NACADA, we are going to work together to see how we can help them.
The collaborative efforts signal a united front in addressing the challenges posed by substance abuse in the country.
The next question.
Faith Muli, Hope TV Newswatch.
And the spouse of Deputy President Pastor Dorcas Rigathi has launched a 2-day free medical camp targeting matatu drivers and conductors in the city. The camp that is running at the Aga Khan Walk is also seeking to de-addict those affected by alcoholism, drugs, and substance abuse. Speaking during the launch of the camp, Pastor Dorcas called on those in the matatu sector to shun away from drugs and substance abuse, as well as help in speaking out against those selling and distributing the illegal substances among the drivers and conductors. She cautioned the drivers against drunk driving or driving under the influence of drugs and substances. More than 800 matatu drivers, conductors and street families were treated during the first day of the camp that ends tomorrow. Pastor Dorcas has also pledged to support taking 100 street children to technical training in her recently launched Dorcas Rigathi Center in Nyandarua.
When it comes to drugs, it comes to alcohol, we must now change the way we do things. Because when you are driving under the influence of alcohol with 30 people in your car or in your bus, with 30 or with 50 people in your bus, with 14 people in your matatu, with one person whom you are riding with, you must take care of that life. And we must not get into the place where we take drugs because you are entrusted with very precious gift, and that is life of your commuters. And that's why today I decided, together with the partners, that we will come and check your health. Tuangalie, tuone mumeangaliwa vizuri so that your health is sound.
German Ambassador Sebastian Groth has paid a courtesy call on Attorney General Justin Muturi to strengthen diplomatic ties and collaboration between Kenya and Germany. During the meeting, Ambassador Sebastian expressed his commitment to enhancing support to the Attorney General's office and commended him for the proactive step of devolving the functions provided by the State Law Office to the 47 counties. He said this move will contribute to a more efficient and localized legal system. Muturi, on his part, urged the German ambassador to further increase support for the State Law Office and specifically emphasized the importance of additional support in advancing the digitalization of the functions offered by the office. Muturi said the digitization efforts are crucial for streamlining processes, improving accessibility, and ensuring the efficient delivery of legal services. And Embu Governor Cecily Mbarire has announced that her government is aiming to get 1 billion shillings through revenue collection this financial year. The county government has today employed 155 new enforcement officers in a bid to achieve the set target. Speaking while commissioning the new enforcement officers, the governor ordered them to fight corruption and be courteous when dealing with members of the public. Our reporter Nicholas Kivite has more on this story.
Speaking at the Embu Stadium, while commissioning the new law enforcement officers who graduated after a 2-week training, Governor Cecily Mbarire has ordered them to be cautious, stating that she doesn't want to hear of cases of askaris mistreating members of the public as they carry out their duty.
Ukidili na mwananchi, treat them with respect. Matusi haitakubalika. You can tell somebody to do the right thing, unaweza caution mtu, lakini tumia lugha ambayo ni respectful. Kwa hivyo hatutaki kusikia umeenda kupigana na mtu, hatutaki kusikia umetusi mtu, just do the right thing.
The governor has ordered the officers to deal with corruption ruthlessly, especially when collecting taxes, warning them that whoever will be found promoting corruption or violating the laws of the county will be dealt with accordingly.
Ukipatikana unachukua hongo, ukipatikana unasupport watu wale wanaharibu mambo yetu, utaenda nyumbani. Na nasema hivi, wazazi wenu wakiwa hapa, wale wamefika, ndio msikuje kunitafuta wakati umeshikwa. This is disciplined force. Hatutakubali any form of corruption from yourselves.
She has also announced that her government is aiming to get 1 billion shillings through revenue collection this financial year, adding that they depend on the enforcement officers to achieve the set target. The governor has also noted that her government is no longer receiving taxes in cash form, advising the citizen to only pay through M-Pesa.
Embu County government tumekuwa tunasema tunaweza okota revenue ya up to 900 million per year. Hatujawahi pita $500 million, hatujawahi pita 500 million. Nilipoingia nilikuta tulikuwa tume raise only 350 million. Mwaka uliopita we managed to go up to 679 million. Hii mwaka lazima tufike 1 billion Kenyan shillings.
The governor has now told the officers to work hard to achieve the goal while ordering them to avoid behaviors that could affect their performance. She has also promised to help those who may be having psychological challenges with the right care and support.
We will not accept alcoholism. Na kama unaenda through any pressure ama We are going to work very closely with the director. We have a mental health program. We will give counseling. Ukisikia umefika mwisho, we are here to support you to make sure that you have counseling, umefanywa the necessary support, umeenda hospitali, umetibiwa, so that you can serve the people of Embu County better. We care about your welfare.
Reporting for Op Newswatch, my name is Nicholas Kivite.
We're taking our first short break here on Newswatch. We'll be back with more stories. Don't go too far.
Get ready for the most electrifying gospel event of the year, Praise Atmosphere 2023, on the 9th of December at Sitam Karen, Nairobi, from 2 p.m. onward, featuring Evelyn Wanjiru, Prosper Ochimana from Nigeria, Rehema Simfukwe from Tanzania, Edith Wairimo, Celestine Donkor from Ghana, Wilberforce Musyoka, Solomon Mukubwa, Kestin Bogo, and Sharon Ishavuka from Kenya. Regular tickets are available for just 1,000 shillings, 2,000 shillings at the gate, and for the children 3 to 12 years, it's only 500 shillings. VIP and VVIP tickets are also available. Visit www.praiseatmosphere.com/events or use paybill number 800-8575, account Praise. Praise Atmosphere 2023, uniting hearts in worship.
I've actually been trying to find a balance. It's been really tough and hectic, but everyone says once you get a hang of it, it becomes better, and I don't know, but I'm hoping to find a balance soon because it's really been hectic. But you've been in the job industry for a long time, so I think you would know better. Sindio?
Huh? What time is it? I need to catch up on Leadership Forum. Do they have a radio here? Never mind. I brought my own.
No way. You can't be serious. Wait, why do you have a radio and you can just catch up with the shows on Hope FM podcast?
Really? Even Meet of the Word?
Yeah. I mean, you can find them on whatever platform, name it. AfriPods, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you name it.
Welcome back. Now, 250 youths have completed software development training courtesy of investment between the Family Group Foundation and Adanian Labs Africa. This was the second cohort of software engineer graduates to undergo the training that is focused on digital skills, software development, artificial intelligence, and blockchain, and aims to give them a foundation for innovation and entrepreneurship through which they can develop innovative solutions to local and global problems. Family Bank CEO designate Nancy Njau said the program by the two organizations seeks to instill entrepreneurship and growth mindset to create the next generation of innovators and creators and promote resilience of our youth to transform dreams as we create a safe and secure as well as inclusive digital future for the African continent. Adanian Glab CEO John Kamara on his part said the training in qualitative skill sets will drive social capital among the youth and grow the economy.
And the problem across the continent is the same. There's unemployment, and there's a lot of young people. And as I told Rebecca this morning, we have a lot of quantitative human capital. But for us to trade better as a continent, we have to create qualitative human capital. Because in the quality lies the economic and the social capital that allow us to enrich a lot of our countries. What we can do with will, and the key word is will, and it's not money, it's not even, it's will. With willpower, what we can do is change our own tiny little ecosystem one at a time.
Today, we graduate the second cohort of our partnership with Adanian Labs Africa through our philanthropic arm, the Family Group Foundation. The bank has invested 15 million Kenya shillings in this partnership, with 10 million Kenya shillings being invested specifically in the software development training program, a co-investment between the foundation and Adenian Labs. This second cohort of graduates have undergone training focused on digital skills, software development, AI, and blockchain to give them a foundation for innovation and entrepreneurship through which they can develop innovative solutions to local and global problems. Family Bank, through the foundation, has been very deliberate towards creating social change, improving livelihoods, and creating sustainable development in our society.
And in a significant stride towards fostering digital literacy and empowering undeserved youth, Digital Opportunity Trust Kenya, a youth-led movement, has embarked on mobilizing and inspiring disadvantaged young people with a focus on providing digital literacy, 21st century skills, and self-confidence. Kenya aims to equip the youth for success in an inclusive digital economy. Country Director at Kenya, Esther Gathigi Kibugi, said the project's success is attributed to a commitment to peer-led learning, supporting the youth in creating opportunities, progressing in the digital economy, and fostering lasting change. The country director expressed pride in the unwavering dedication to empower the young women, underscoring the transformative power of digital skills in shaping a brighter future.
Our program, while it was focused on young women, and the reason it was focused on young women is we realized that youth in technology is dominated by young men. And so we wanted to find a way to pull in more young women into the ICT space and the digital economy space. That's not to say that we left out young men in our programming. We were very conscious, like we said, out of the efforts that we had to reach 70% young women, we reached 60%. So we had over 40% participation of young men. In fact, we had such a huge and overwhelming number of young men who were participating in the program that we had to be a bit biased in certain communities to ensure that we are pulling in young women. So we do see that young men will tend to take up technology opportunities easier. So anytime we're going into a community, especially outside of Nairobi, we will find a lot of the people who want to participate in the program are young men.
I used to facilitate digital skills, mainly the basic ICT skills. And personally, I can say I have seen the program become a success because mainly during facilitation, the first few days you'll notice that the students don't even want to touch the computers. Everyone in the class has something like a tense attitude towards gaining digital skills. But then come 1 week, 2 weeks later, you see that there is quite an improvement in class.
To some regional news now, London's Heathrow Airport is facing an ownership shakeup after infrastructure giant Ferrovial agreed to sell its entire 25% stake in Britain's busiest airport for $3 billion. The Spanish company said the buyers included public equity fund Ardian and Saudi Arabia's public investment fund. Ferrovial said it expects to complete the sale of the airport by mid-next year, subject to regulatory conditions. Ferrovial owns 50% stake in 3 other British airports and holds 49% stake in the new Terminal 1 and at the JKF Airport in New York City. And on this last episode of Lessons from the Entrepreneur in the month of November, we speak with Dr. Stephen Ojuang, the founder of Premier Care Hospital, a one-stop medical facility for screening, imaging, and treatment that has the people at the center of its operations. Dr. Ojuang narrates the journey of setting up the medical facility and the challenges he has encountered as a medical entrepreneur. This story coming right up on tonight's episode of Lessons from the Entrepreneur.
Stephen Ojuang is a change catalyst. He believes in empowering people around him to reach their full potential so that together we can transform the communities around us. I believe that's my God-given purpose. I serve here at Premier Care Hospital Group as the CEO and founder, and I'm married to Lois with 3 children. And we started this journey in 2014 with our first unit in Kitengela. And the inspiration behind the Premier Care journey is that we are here to provide quality healthcare to the underserved peri-urban communities, because 80% of the population have to travel for over 2 hours in East Africa, would you believe it, to access quality healthcare. So Premier Care is here to solve that problem by increasing access, thereby saving lives, saving time and money, even as people seek to access quality healthcare.
So welcome to Lessons from the Entrepreneur. My name is Melissah Oduor. That resounding introduction by Dr. Stephen Ojuang of Premier Care Hospital Group. We know the field of medical care in Kenya has been saturated a lot, especially with those players in the private sector. The government is doing its best to make sure that our medical and our health needs are taken care of. However, players in the private sector also have a role to help us to ensure that the gap that we need our health care needs taken care of is bridged very well and taken care of. Hence the need to have facilities such as Premier Care to take care of us. We're today at Syokimau, one of the Premier Care branches that is situated strategically actually on that superhighway where you land and you get your medical needs taken care of. And Dr. Ojuang is going to tell us why this strategic location, first of all. I'm actually preempting, but I know Syokimau is one of your youngest babies. Tell me about when you started until Syokimau.
It's been quite a journey. We started off in 2014 with a diagnostic center, which comprised of initially imaging services. Being a radiologist by training, we started off with an ultrasound, and then through partnerships and strategic engagements with our key business partners who are our suppliers, we were then able to roll out the other different departments. So we started there, we added later a CT scan and an X-ray, as well as lab services. Purely by God's grace, it's been a journey of faith. And then from there, we moved on, and we were able to gain traction and credibility with our suppliers, who then allowed us to provide the people of Garissa with their CT scan services, because previously they did not have access. And people would travel for more than 6 hours to get a scan done. You can imagine if someone had an accident and they needed quick care, they would leave the surgeon who has an answer to their problem, but does not have the diagnostic information of what's happening to their abdomen or their brain, for example. So they would send them all the way to Thika or Nairobi. So when we landed there, we were then able to reduce that gap, that journey to less than 6 hours, so that people would then be able to access CT scan services there, and therefore access the other levels of quality care, be it in the acute setting or even oncology or cancer services. So from there, we, by God's grace, were then able to move to Narok in 2017, where we had learned from our mistakes, kept getting better, and we changed our model to incorporate other colleagues and other specialists, so that the patient would then find a one-stop shop model, whereby they don't have to go to another facility, for example, to get quality healthcare. Because as part of the cost of accessing healthcare, there's a very huge element of the time lost between referrals across different facilities. And also you can imagine, especially in our populations, one person going to hospital ordinarily would probably, in the areas that we serve, would probably go with 2-3 other people. So essentially that means 2-3 other people who are out of work for that 1 or 2 days. So there's lots of productivity. So we were, by God's grace, able to bridge that gap in Narok as well, where we grew from a diagnostic center to to an inpatient facility, which has been running there for the last 2 years. And then here we are in Syokimau.
So this is the third one?
This probably would be the fourth one was in Loitoktok, which is we went there specifically to provide access to, it's a rural setting, so we were doing a lot more of CSR there because we believe we are called to reach out to the underserved nations with the medical care. So that was more of a CSR. We were there from 2018 till earlier this year when we shut down the branch because it was a tough lesson there because of market dynamics. We were not able to adequately service that market. And it was also a little different from our business model, but we discovered avenues to allow people to still continue getting care there in different ways.
So perhaps my question would be, for you, having come from a medical training, and then a lot of doctors would go into, of course, the government facility to work there for a while, perhaps open a small clinic, and then now go into their own thing fully. For you, did you do that transition, or how did you transition?
So immediately after finishing medical school, I had the privilege of starting my master's almost immediately in radiology. And there we always had this dream of starting a diagnostic center with my colleagues. So immediately after that, I worked briefly in the private sector in Dar es Salaam. I didn't quite have the privilege to work in a government hospital, except during internship after my medical degree, the initial medical degree. So I would say my path has been a little different. I had the chance of taking the leap of faith straight from having come from a private sector setting, private hospital setting, straight into entrepreneurship. And arguably I have always been an entrepreneur. I used to do a bit of entrepreneurial work back in college. So that bug never left, and I thought, let me do entrepreneurship in a space that I know. So I straight from Dar es Salaam, where I worked for 1 year after finishing my postgraduate, I came and worked in Upper Hill, strategically because I wanted to understand the market a bit more, and also to get a bit of traction in terms of the name. And subsequently, from after 8 months later, is when we set up Kitengela.
I love the way you speak about we and not you. You tell me about these strategic partners that you came up with. First of all, are they friends? Are they people who are from the medical field? And what is this that informed the choice of these strategic partners? Because we know in the business circle we need to form alliances that are beneficial to our ventures.
I believe, just like the Bible says, we're all members of one body. There's always, no one has it all. We keep learning and we keep growing every day. So when we started, I realized I had a passion, and at least I could get a loan for one of the equipment that we needed. But I didn't have the money to set up. So I strategically reached out to a friend who was then able to help us do the setup, because it is quite one of the challenges of medical care, especially diagnostic care, is a huge capital outlay that is required. So he was then able to help us with the infrastructure, but then the bigger part of the capital outlay is in the equipment. And ordinarily, most traditional financiers do not fund a startup. So I approached another friend who had an existing entity, who was kind enough with his team to give us corporate guarantee that then allowed us to get a loan to start the Kitengela outfit. So by God's grace, we were then able to service the loans thereof, and that built confidence in the market together with our suppliers. And through that, we were then able to access credit subsequently, in addition to getting more partners on board, to the business. Yeah. So one of my my partners to date is my wife. She's been a very key pillar in this journey. We started with her, and she was doing all the work. She was the receptionist. She was the housekeeper. I was the marketer. I was the radiologist. I was the driver, and I remember doing the marketing outside to try and sensitize people about what we do, and then coming back very quickly. When there's a patient, she'd call me and I would come and we had one computer and I would tell her, hey, it's my turn to use the computer. So type the patient's report and then release that. So we've been growing by aligning ourselves strategically with people who have what we do not have. And it's not just the money, it's the ideas that are important. And the person who we started with sits on our board to date as an advisory board member. Aside from my wife, we have other partners. There's another doctor also called Dr. Diana that we worked with, and we started the Narok unit with her. She's also a radiologist. So because I felt that in case, for example, there's need for technical support, there needs to be someone who can also be able to drive the vision beyond me. So that has been our model. But we also have an advisory board that has a coach, a leadership coach. It has a serial entrepreneur who's really been very kind to walk the journey with us, even as we scale the business and grow. And then it has the marketing lead and who is also a personal mentor to me.
If a medic comes and tells you that they too would want to do what you're doing, they're feeling they want to serve the community and maybe they're employed by government right now or in another facility, but they want to go and do their own thing now, open their own facility, what would be this advice that you'd give them? Based on the experiences you've gone through, the challenges, the ups and downs of ensuring that these facilities are, operating to their optimum.
So the Bible speaks about, in Proverbs, it says, by wisdom a house is built, by understanding it is established. So it's very important to understand what you're doing. But even before that, it's important to align what you're doing with your purpose. Why are you doing what you're doing? And I would encourage them to align what God has called them to do. Because I have friends who are medics, but they're into counseling. There are others who are in FMCG, and they're medics. Even amongst our staff, we have people from diverse backgrounds, from engineers to people in media. And we have built an ecosystem that allows people to reach their full potential, because as long as they are following their purpose. So I'd encourage whoever is starting to follow your purpose. There are many areas in medicine. Plug into that area where you feel you're called. But most importantly, read and understand it, because there's the clinical side of treating a patient, but also there's the business side. Do you understand what it means? What is a balance sheet? What does it mean to have systems and structures in place? How do you manage people? Because people are everything. They're the ones who drive the vision and the business. So I would encourage them to take a step further, get a mentor and a coach who can help you with that journey. I'm privileged to have both. I believe as an entrepreneur, you need 4 people around you. One is a mentor, someone who will pull you up, who's been there, done that, who will pull you up. The other one is a coach, someone who will ask you the hard questions. And for me, my wife has been an excellent coach. She's very analytical. Before you make any move, she keeps asking me, have you thought about this? So I found it very useful. It's also important to have a peer, someone who challenges you. So that's the third person. So mentor, coach, peer. And then number 4 is a therapist. Because the journey can be tough, whether you're okay or not. You just need somebody you can talk to and share your experiences with.
Thank you so much. I am still nodding my head. Dr. Joang has a wealth of wisdom that you have so much to learn from if you just sit and listen to. You can listen to him all day. Thank you so much for having us today at Premier Care Outpatient. This is the Syokimau branch. It has been an honor to listen to this story of this well-serving medical facility that is taking care of our communities right where they are. Listen to grassroots like Garissa and Narok and Loitoktok. Man, so much to learn from you. And as an entrepreneur, and on this end, we appreciate you. Thank you so much, sir, for having us as Hope TV to have this. You are our final episode for Lessons from the Entrepreneur in the year 2023. This is how we wrap this up. Thank you guys for allowing me to be your host on Lessons from the Entrepreneur. My name is Melissah Oduor. Until 2024, God willing.
Je, ushawahi kuweka jambo kwenye mizani? Ushawahi kupata uzito wake? Haya basi, usitapetape zaidi. Naomba unigande, maana mizani ipo hapa kwa ajili yako.
Vyakula na mbegu za kitamaduni.
Na kutuliza fikra na kukuwezesha kupima masuala ibuka katika jamii. Tena kwa busara. Tukutane mizani kila Ijumaa saa 1 machweo kwenye runinga ya Hope TV.
It's finally here. The breakfast show that will kickstart your morning with a message of hope, coupled up with wholesome music, and of course, captivating conversations that matter to you.
We shall touch on topics on law, relationships, the Christian walk, and in addition, we will also be keeping you up to date with news and all the trending topics.
Join me, Bishop Watare,
and me, George Gishuru, every Monday to Friday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Hope at Dawn.
Only on Hope TV, where you look
and live.
Some sports now. The United States National Basketball Association, NBA, has committed to support the development of the sport in Kenya by implementing grassroots programs to nurture talents in the country. NBA will partner with the Ministry of Sports, the Ministry of Education, the Kenya Basketball Federation to develop a comprehensive basketball ecosystem. As part of this initiative, a junior NBA clinic is set to engage 70 boys and girls to commemorate the inauguration of the NBA 5th African office in Nairobi. This is in line with the Memorandum of Understanding signed in New York last September between the NBA and the Ministry of Sports in the presence of President William Ruto. Egypt, Senegal, South Africa, and Nigeria are the only other African countries hosting NBA offices. Speaking during a meeting with NBA officials led by NBA Africa CEO Victor Williams, 5-time NBA champion Ron Harper, and former NBA player Michael Finley, President William Ruto described the initiative as a turning point in the development of the sport in the country, as it will give Kenyan youth an opportunity to pursue professional basketball. And that's how we wrap up Newswatch. Thank you for keeping me company throughout this newscast. I have been your anchor, Melissah Oduor. On the sign language has been Boniface Muredi. Have a great night.